All right, YouTube, we have one final update for you guys this morning here. It is Monday, April 8th, 2019, and we're back to bring you guys an update on our 2 foot by 4 foot raised bed Hugel Culture garden planter that we have next to our main raised bed Hugel Culture garden planter here at the Green Thumbs Gardening channel. If you recall from our last video, in this particular planter, we planted broccoli, we planted mint, we planted California red bell peppers, and we planted big boy tomatoes. So we're going to show you exactly what's happened since we actually planted the seeds and the seedlings in this container. Here in our front row, we have our broccoli. And we planted these in here roughly 2 weeks ago, and we were beginning to worry that they weren't going to actually germinate because when we planted them, it was still a little cold here in Tifton, Georgia here. But about 2 days after we planted them, the weather warmed way up, and these guys came up, and they're looking quite well here in the front row in our Hugel Culture garden planter here. In our second row, if you recall from the previous video, we planted mint. And as you recall, I told you guys I'm not a huge fan of mint, but I planted the mint as a rodent deterrent and insect repellent and so forth. And if you know anything about mint, you know that mint is very finicky and hard to germinate from seeds. I really, truly, honestly was not even expecting for the mint to germinate at all, because of the weather conditions at the time that I planted the mint. I planted the mint on the same day that I planted the broccoli and the peppers and the tomatoes. So I really wasn't expecting for this mint to germinate at all under those conditions, but as you can see, it did. It's finally starting to come up. As you can see, there. A few more spots going down this road. That was looking very well. Have a couple here. Hard to see, but they're coming up, and a few more down here towards this end that's coming up. So we're actually feeling very optimistic about the mint now that it actually has started to sprout. On this third row, as you recall, we planted the California red bell peppers, and it has been several weeks now. Of course, we planted these on the same day that we planted everything else, and as you can see, nothing has sprouted along this row yet. Now at this point, we're not really concerned about the fact that nothing has sprouted along this row yet, because peppers, believe it or not, can take up to a month to germinate and peek their heads above the soil. And again, it was a little cool when we planted these peppers, so the fact that they haven't germinated and peeked their heads above the ground at this point, we're not really concerned about it yet. A couple more weeks, if we don't see anything, then we'll be concerned. But right now, we're not really concerned about it. In this fourth row, we planted seedlings. We planted the big boy tomato, slicing tomato variety of tomato seedlings back here in this back row. And as you can see, these seedlings in just about maybe 2.5 weeks are about 3 times the size they were when we first planted them. And if you watched the first video, you noticed that something's missing from both of these plants. And what's missing is actually the lower limbs. I cut those lower limbs off for 2 purposes. A, to reduce splashback from the soil up onto the lower leaves and limbs of the plant, which causes a fungi to grow on the tomato plants, gives it a disease. And B, I did that to stimulate the growth of new leaves and branches in the upper part of this plant. And if you look closely, you will see that that's exactly what has happened. Not only has new branches sprouted at the bottom of these plants, on both of them, there, and even on the other side over there, but they've also sprouted up here in the top. It caused a growth spurt for this plant up here in the top. And actually, this plant is actually beginning to flower already. And if you look very closely, you can see that. That's not particularly something we're aiming for at this point in the growth stage of this tomato plant. So what we'll probably end up doing is topping this plant. A lot of people don't agree with topping your tomato plants or pinching off the blooms when they appear too early in the growth stage, but I have absolutely no problem doing that because I want this plant to reach an optimum height and an optimum root depth and root coverage beneath the soil before it actually starts putting a bunch of energy into producing fruit. So in my next video with this planter, what I'll probably end up doing is coming back and showing you guys who are not familiar with the whole pruning process when it comes to tomato plants. I'll come back and show you guys how to prune or top your tomato plants and remove blossoms that appear too early during the growth stage on your plants. At any rate, YouTube, we'll bring you guys back in about 2 to 3 weeks to show you the progress on this particular garden planter. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like what you see, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button and share this page with your friends and family. We really would appreciate it. Thanks.